All right, guys, last one. Week 7, Module 3. This is your SCR final draft. So everything we've been working on this week, we're going to go ahead and put that together into one cohesive and coherent statement. All right, so our objective for today is that you will be able to write completely, a short constructed response creating a historical argument. You'll be able to cite text evidence, and you'll be able to analyze the historical context of those documents. Our essential question that we've been working on all week is, why would formerly colonized nations want to resist the control of European nations? You could even say European colonizers, if that's what you wanted to do. By the end of today, the expectation is that this Google Doc is fully turned in. I'd actually like you to go back and turn in your other ones if you haven't done that as well, just so we can see the progression of work really easily. As a refresher, we do have this vocabulary of colonialism, the policy of taking over distant colonies or distant countries to get rich off of their people and resources. And kind of subsets of those are colony, colonizer, colonized, colonized, and colonialism is that like policy. A formerly colonized nation is a nation that was once under colonial rule and has since become an independent nation in modern times. Remember that we talked about modern times basically anywhere from like the age of exploration, so the early 1400s through to right now, kind of modern history. And resistance is an effort made to stop or fight against someone or something. So when we're talking about why did they want to resist, why did they want to stop the colonialism of their region by European oppressors. Pardon me. The do now for today. You can't complete Module 3 unless you have finished Modules 1 and 2. So if you haven't done that, you need to stop and go back and complete those. Just have Modules 1 and 2 open. Definitely have 2 open because you'll need it for do now. Review your SCR outline for Module 2. What is the part of the outline that you found the easiest? So was it the analysis? Was it the TAP? Was it evidence? Was it contextualization? So what part did you find was the easiest and kind of within that subset? And then what part did you find the most challenging? And you're giving me a reason why. So you're going to say like, I found blank to be the easiest because, and I found blank to be the most challenging because. Once you've done that, basically today's class time is independent practice. So you're using Module 2, the documents from the SCR outline to complete your lesson, and you're going to write your final draft. It would also behoove you to have this document open. I forgot to click it open in our previous lesson in Module 2, but here it is. It would behoove you to have this open just so you could easily refer back and forth to them. That is available in the Google Classroom. So you're going to complete this as your final draft. We're expecting 2 to 3 paragraphs here, super clearly written, answering this prompt in its entirety. Why would formerly colonized nations want to resist the control of European nations? The nice thing about this is, for the most part, you should be able to copy and paste big chunks of this over, but I want you to polish it and make it look really nice and neat. I don't want to see any highlights. I don't want to see any weird bolding. I want to make sure punctuation is super clear. Once you've done that, you're double checking your writer's checklist here. It's kind of acting as your master check. It's the last thing to do to check that it's polished. You're making sure that you do have that best evidence and that it flows really nicely within your document. You've got all of the context that you need, who wrote it, what it's called, when it was written for each of the documents. Any background knowledge that helps prove that you understand colonialism and the resistance to colonialism. You've written full and complete sentences and checked punctuation. It stylistically looks appropriate. It looks nice and neat, as if you were getting ready to turn in an SCR or an essay. And you have at least 2 of these for each of the documents: biased, author's purpose, intended, audience, point of view. If you have any questions about what it should or should not look like, please refer to the video from Module 2 where I went a little bit more in depth on these. So the keys to these lessons are the same as the previous 2. There are super clear cycles of oppression and resistance, particularly when it comes to European colonialism of Africa and Asia. We started the year by looking at the beginning of the cycle in the oppression of colonialism with the scramble for Africa, we're sort of ending it with this Bandung Conference and the Declaration of Independence from Vietnam. We are still a long ways away from the end of colonialism, but we are much closer than we were. We're also considering how World War II brought an end to the cycle of resistance movements in these formerly colonized nations in gaining their independence, mostly because World War II left them, those nations, much weaker than they had ever been before. In this lesson, you need to be able to construct and support historical arguments through writing short constructed responses. That's a 2 to 3 paragraph response, not a 5 paragraph essay, but definitely is like a substantial piece of writing. And you're using these videos, these notes, Mr. Marsh and myself, to help you go back and edit your writing so you're turning in the best piece of writing that you possibly can. Make sure by the end of today you have finished and turned in your Google Doc and all of your other modules. We will be checking with you on this. And if you have not finished this, we will see you next week for remediation. Thanks, guys. It's been great.